quarrel, silence, a slammed door, and then the call from the emergency room. We're working hard to reach our first 1,000 subscribers. Every click matters more than you think. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Don't miss what really matters. We fought over something trivial. Over such nonsense that I'm ashamed to remember it now. Back then, I thought I was right. Now, I'd give everything to get that evening back. To just stay quiet, or give her a hug, or not say those stupid things. But chances like that don't come back. My name is Mark, 38 years old, my wife, Lily. We've been together 7 years. It was an ordinary day. Wednesday, work, phone calls, traffic jams. Exhaustion. I got home around 8. The kitchen smelled of rosemary and chicken. Warm light. TV in the background. News. She was making dinner. There was tiredness in her movements. Not anger. Just a hard day. I silently walked into the kitchen. Sat down. Pulled out my phone. Scrolled through emails. At some point I asked, barely looking up, "Did you buy milk?" She answered shortly, without emotion, "Forgot. I'll go get some later." And that's when something shifted inside me. Not because of the milk. Because of everything that had built up. As always, I muttered, "Everything's on me." She didn't respond, just slammed the oven door loudly. I continued, almost automatically, "You're always forgetting. You don't care about anything." And it began, like all the irritation that had accumulated over the month, burst out at once. Lily turned around. Her eyes were tired. "Are you serious? Over milk?" I wasn't listening anymore. I needed to let it out. "Not about the milk. About everything. About how you always," I said. "Too much. Doesn't matter what. Hurtful. Harsh. Unfair." Something flickered in her eyes, not surprise. Not anger. Exhaustion. Like she was tired of fighting. Like she had no strength left. She silently wiped her hands. Walked to the hallway. Took her jacket. Her purse. "Where are you going?" I asked. But not with concern. With defiance. "To get some air. Don't wait up." The door slammed, ringing in my ears. An empty kitchen remained. I sat there. My fingers mechanically scrolled through my phone. News. Memes. Emptiness. One thought kept circling in my head. Let her cool off. When she comes back, we'll talk. But time passed. Minutes. An hour. 2 hours. The anger faded. What remained was an uncomfortable anxiety. An inner voice kept saying, "Call her. Text her. Tell her you went too far." But I didn't do it. Stubbornness. Stupid, worthless stubbornness. Big deal, a fight. Not the first time. She'll come back, we'll work it out. Except, she didn't come back. And I didn't know yet. That was the last time I'd hear her slam the door. Time dragged on. I sat in the kitchen. Empty cup. Phone in my hand. The screen dimmed, lit up. Dimmed again. The first 20 minutes, I was still seething inside. Stupid anger. Let her cool off. I'm sick of all this. Almost an hour passed. The screen showed 9:52 p.m. I got up, looked into the hallway. Empty. Her shoes were by the door. The lighter jacket. It was already cold outside. That's when the first sharp feeling appeared. Not fear, not guilt, but some kind of gnawing anxiety. I should call. I looked at my phone. Then, put it away. Let her call first. I'm not the one at fault here. Why should I be the first to reach out? Another 20 minutes passed. News on TV played in the background. I wasn't listening. My mind was stuck on one thing. Why has she been gone so long? I dialed her number. Once. No answer. A second's pause. Called again. Ringing again. No answer. An unpleasant feeling in my chest. Constricted. Like the air had compressed my ribs. I started remembering how Lily usually left on evenings like this. Usually, maximum half an hour. Just to get some air, walk around the block. But now it had been 2 hours. 10:30 p.m. I started typing a message. "Where are you? Is everything okay?" Didn't send it. Deleted it. Stubbornness still clung to me. But my brain was already painting pictures. Cold streets. Cars. Intersections. 10:48 p.m. Another call. No answer. That's when I started getting really scared. The inner voice was no longer persuading. Go look for her. I threw on my jacket. Went out. Walked around the block. Checked the usual courtyards. Everything was empty. I returned home. My fingers were shaking when I dialed again. 11:15 p.m. And then, the phone rang. But not hers. Unknown number. I froze. Touched the screen. My voice was trembling. Hello? On the other end, a man's voice. Calm. Clear. But unfamiliar. Are you Mark? Yes. This is the police. Your wife, Lily, listed you as the emergency contact. There's been an incident. A car accident. She's in the hospital. Please come immediately. Time seemed to stop. I stared into emptiness. The words wouldn't form in my head. What? Where? How? They repeated the address. Asked me to hurry. I threw the phone on the table. Put on my shoes automatically. While driving, my hands shook on the steering wheel. Pounding in my ears. Why? How? Why didn't I say then? Didn't call. Didn't run after her? Every minute felt like eternity. I arrived at the hospital. Parked haphazardly. Ran inside. In the emergency room, dim light. The attending physician looked at me. Family member? Husband. Where is she? He paused. Looked away. In intensive care. Critical condition. The accident, side impact. Pedestrian. She's in surgery now. They sat me on a bench in the corridor. White walls. A clock on the wall. The hand was ticking. My head was empty. Empty. I stared at those walls. And only one phrase kept spinning in my head. Why didn't I stop her then? Why did everything have to come to this? I sat on the cold plastic bench. Time had stopped. The hospital corridor smelled of something sharp. Bleach? Medical alcohol? I don't know. I couldn't smell anything. Couldn't feel time. Couldn't feel myself. Before my eyes, a white wall. The clock. The minute hand counting down life. One thought in my head. Please let her be okay. Please let her just open her eyes. Please let me have time to say that none of it matters. That I love her. That. Just live. People walked through the corridor. Doctors, nurses. Someone wheeled someone on a gurney. Someone spoke into a radio. But everything sounded muffled to me. Like I was sitting in an aquarium. Phone in my hand. Screen dimmed, lit up. Dimmed, lit up. Not a single new message. No calls. I dialed her number again. Stupid. Maybe pointless. But what if? Of course, nothing. The subscriber is unavailable. Time dragged painfully. 1 hour. 2. 3? I couldn't tell anymore. I only heard my own thoughts. If I hadn't said those things. If I hadn't lost it. If I had just hugged her. Said, go get some sleep. We'll talk tomorrow. If I hadn't been such an idiot. My chest was burning. My hands were shaking. Every word spoken in that fight surfaced. As if mockingly. You're always forgetting. Everything's on me. Nonsense. Unnecessary words. What garbage. That now, maybe, there won't be a chance to apologize for. A doctor walked by. Looked at me. Are you the husband? Yes. How is she? He sighed. A pause. Extremely critical condition. The surgery went through, but the injuries are serious. Coma. Coma. One word. Short. Like a blow. I was silent. Couldn't nod or ask. The doctor added, we can't give any prognosis yet. We'll keep monitoring. You can stay, or come back in the morning. How could I leave? Where to? I stayed. On the same bench. With the same thoughts. I tried to remember. When was the last time I simply hugged Lily? When did I say, I love you? When did I look at her without all this stupid rush of tasks and problems? There was no answer. Only a burning feeling of guilt. Consuming. You're wrong. You were wrong. You're to blame. Tears were welling up, but I held them back. As if tears could fix anything. The corridor was quiet. The clock continued counting time. And my belated remorse. In that moment I truly understood, we don't fight over chores. Not over household stuff. Not over milk. We fight, because we can't say what matters in time. Because we hold irritation inside. Because we forget, life isn't forever. And now she lies behind that door. Unconscious. And I sit here, useless, broken. One phrase in my head. Please give me just one chance, to simply tell her this. The night dragged on endlessly. I sat on the same plastic bench. My hands, cold. My shoulders, stiff. But I couldn't move. Every few minutes I caught myself thinking the same thing. This is just a nightmare. I'll wake up now. I'll be at home. She'll be next to me. Everything will be like before. But I didn't wake up. The corridor was real. The clock was ticking. The ICU door remained closed. Pictures spun in my head. The fight. Her eyes. How she slammed the door. How I sat there, stubborn, angry, right. And now? Now I was empty. When dawn began to break, I didn't even notice. The glass in the window just got lighter. Phone. Battery almost dead. No calls. No messages. At some point the doctor approached again. Sat next to me. I understand this is hard for you. Her condition is unchanged for now. Coma. You can go home for a couple hours, get some rest. I shook my head. Home? To an empty apartment? Where it smells like rosemary. Where the dishes from that evening are still in the sink. No, I couldn't go there. Not now. I stayed. All morning, on the same bench. My eyes could barely see. My head was throbbing. At some point I started praying. I'm not particularly religious, but then, I prayed, in whispers, to myself. Please let her just survive. Let her wake up. I'll do everything differently. I'll fix everything. I'll say everything I didn't say. I'll be different. Just, let her come back. But she wasn't coming back. Hours passed. News changed on the TV screen. And I sat. And in my head again and again. Over what? Over such nonsense. Over exhaustion. Over my stubbornness. Over words that cost her this night. Maybe her life. A day passed. Then another. I started remembering her every phrase from recent months. Every fight we had. Every little thing. How often I didn't listen. How often I interrupted. How often I escaped into work. How many times she tried. And I, not now. We'll talk later. What's the big deal? And now, there is no later. In my head, emptiness. And only one terrible understanding. I'm to blame. Only me. Not circumstances. Not chance. Me. In that moment, for the first time in years, I truly cried. Without holding back. Without embarrassment. Like a man who lost the most important thing. And was himself to blame for it. I didn't know how it would all end. Whether there would be a morning when I'd hear her voice. See her eyes. But I knew one thing. If I were given just one chance to go back to that evening, I would choose different words. Different actions. A different version of myself. 2 months passed. Every morning I woke up, and the first thing I thought, she's in a coma. Still. Then the days would begin. Work. Papers. Meetings. But everything was empty. Gray. Like part of me remained there, in that hospital corridor. I went to the hospital almost every evening. Sat next to her. Said something to her. Read books aloud. The doctors said, there's a chance. But we can't give any prognosis. Sometimes it seemed to me, her fingers twitched slightly. Or her eyelids moved barely noticeably. But maybe it was my imagination. From desperation, one day I stayed overnight. Just sat there, held her hand, and suddenly I realized, I had never told her what mattered most. All these years, in work, in hustle, in petty grievances, I had missed the main thing. I loved her, but how often did I say it out loud? How many times did we fight not over what was important, but over nonsense? Who washes dishes? Who went to the store? Who forgot about the milk? And in the process, we lost each other. Slowly, until one fight became the last. Now I would give everything to go back to that evening. To say, I'm sorry. It doesn't matter. I love you. Don't leave. But time doesn't come back. 6 months passed. Lily's condition stabilized, but consciousness never returned. I still came to the hospital. Sat next to her. Sometimes told her how my day went. Sometimes just sat in silence. What I feared most was silence. Because silence is what we had then, that evening. Instead of words. Instead of confessions. Instead of, I'm sorry. Now I knew. Silence kills. Not immediately, not with a blow, but drop by drop. Time went on. I started seeing a psychologist. Not to forget, because forgetting something like that is impossible. But to learn to live with it. A year passed. I no longer wake up thinking, maybe she woke up. But I still live with the feeling that that fight took away what was most precious to me. And I let it happen. Now I say, I love you, more often. To those who are near. Simply, so as not to accumulate. So as not to lose. so as not to regret later what wasn't said. But Lily, I don't know if she'll ever hear me. Every time I leave the room, I whisper, I love you. I'm sorry, please just come back. And you know what's most terrifying? You never know which fight will be the last. Which word, the last thing you'll say. Which piece of nonsense will take everything away from you. We think there will be tomorrow. There will be a chance. There will be, we'll talk later. But sometimes, later never comes. He thought it was just another fight. He thought everything would work out. Later, after, tomorrow, but tomorrow never came. How many times do we choose to be right instead of being together? How many times do we stay silent when we could say simple words, I love you. I'm sorry, don't leave. Fights come and go, but there are some after which you can never fix everything. If you're holding on to resentment right now, if you're staying silent, speak up before it's too late.